Look across industrial rooftops in Malaysia right now, and you'll see a clear trend. Massive commercial solar arrays are scaling up faster than ever. Thanks to recent updates to the ATAP and SELCO regulatory frameworks, generating your own power is now highly accessible, both legally and financially. But there's a catch. Even after heavy investments in rooftop panels, many facility operators are still looking at monthly electricity bills that sting. The problem is that a traditional commercial solar setup is completely passive. The panels generate power when the sun is shining, not necessarily when your business actually needs the electricity. Treating a passive solar array as your entire energy strategy leaves your operating margins exposed to the national grid. To actually defend your bottom line, you need active control over the power you produce. This chart shows exactly where the math breaks down. A standard day of solar production creates this smooth bell curve, hitting maximum generation right around 1 p.m. But facility operations rarely follow a bell curve. This jagged red line represents actual power usage. You get heavy spikes during early morning equipment startups or evening shifts, completely missing the peak solar hours. This mismatch creates a double penalty. First, you have all this excess midday power that your facility can't use in real time. It ends up exporting back to the grid at less than optimal rates. Second, during your heaviest operational periods in the morning and evening, your panels aren't producing enough, so you end up buying power back from the grid, often at the most expensive peak hour rates. This is the temporal price gap, and closing this gap is the exact job a battery energy storage system, or BESS, is engineered to do. To evaluate if a battery system is worth it for your business, let's look at this chart mapping the financial impact of a BESS against the implementation effort it requires. For heavy industrial operations, the biggest financial pain point isn't standard usage, it's maximum demand, or MD charges. MD charges are hefty penalties triggered the exact second heavy machinery turns on, demanding a massive, immediate surge of power from the grid. A battery storage system attacks this directly through a mechanism called peak shaving. Smart algorithms monitor your operations, and when that heavy machinery kicks on, the battery instantly discharges to cover the surge. The grid never even registers the massive power draw. By flattening your demand curve, you eliminate that costly MD penalty entirely. The trade-off here is complexity. This is not plug and play. It requires precise, custom engineering to map your facility's exact load profile before a single wire is connected. So, peak shaving lands in the upper right quadrant. It's a high-effort, heavily customized integration, but it yields exceptionally high operational savings on your monthly bill. The second major function of a BESS helps insulate your daily overhead from the grid's most expensive pricing blocks. This is called tariff load shifting. Instead of exporting your cheap excess solar energy at 1 p.m., you hold it in your battery banks. You then deploy that stored energy at 7 p.m. when grid tariffs skyrocket. You are essentially running your facility on midday sun deep into the night. Under the SELC framework, this means you achieve 100% self-consumption. Every kilowatt you generate stays in-house, maximizing the initial investment you made in the solar panels. But there is a physical reality to consider here. Batteries degrade over time through continuous daily cycling. Any accurate ROI calculation has to factor in future hardware replacement costs. Adding a battery will naturally extend your payback timeline compared to a standard panel-only solar array. On our framework, tariff load shifting requires moderate upfront effort, but it provides vital long-term insulation against unpredictable grid price hikes. Beyond the daily operational math, there is the long-term reality of corporate governance, specifically hitting your 2026 ESG targets. Installing a massive BESS introduces a serious hardware liability if you do not have a plan for how to dispose of those toxic cells at the end of their life cycle. Participating in a true circular economy means choosing vendors that offer a dedicated solar recycling program to ensure proper disposal. This filters your options. You can't just hunt for the cheapest battery. You have to evaluate vendors based on their full lifecycle hardware management. Hitting your compliance targets requires planning for both green generation and green disposal. Let's pull this all together. A BESS is a targeted financial weapon, not a mandatory upgrade for every single business. Looking at this decision tree, the first question is, Does your facility incur high maximum demand charges? If you are a heavy industrial operator running 24/7 machinery, those MD penalties add up quickly. In this scenario, the ROI for integrating a battery to perform peak shaving is overwhelmingly positive. But what if you operate a standard 9 to 5 commercial facility? Your natural energy usage already aligns closely with peak solar generation. For daytime-only offices without heavy machinery, a standard grid-tied solar setup might be entirely sufficient. The best equation is a question of whether your specific operational pain points are severe enough to justify the extra capital expenditure of a battery. You won't find the answer to that question using generic off-the-shelf estimates. Trying to calculate your payback period with averages will only give you flawed math. The mandatory first step is to secure a comprehensive, customized load profile analysis of your exact operations. Reach out to specialists like AMEA Energy. They can map your operations to current regulatory frameworks and provide a precise, custom ROI calculation for commercial BESS integration here in Malaysia. Stop guessing at your energy expenses. Move past being a passive consumer of grid power and start actively protecting your business's bottom line.